when we are live on the Red Pill News. Take the red pill, take the red pill, take the red pill. And I'll tell you something about the world that I don't like. A lot of people suck. And because of that, it makes other people suffer. And then I look around and I see these things going on that, you know what it is? It's the message. There's the politically correct machine that will definitely puts your brain into decay if you follow the machine. It's what we're taught, what we're programmed. Television is my favorite example of programming. They call it programming for a reason. They program people's brains. Maybe your favorite show, something you like to watch, it's a funny sitcom or whatever. That show is going to have, these days especially, not back in the day, this is modern, this PC stuff, back in the day, it was more about entertainment. It's not about entertainment anymore. It's about the message that they put forward and what they express unto you to try to brainwash you into what you're feeling. So The Office is a perfect example. I love to watch The Office. I watch the reruns of The Office. I leave it on as background noise, as bubble gum for the brain. Do I get into the characters? Not really. I mean, there's things I like about it, there's things I don't like about it. And what I like is to observe. I like sitting back and looking at something with an objective eye, saying, what's their message? It's not just about an office full of people interacting, going through the daily thing. No, there's an underlying message. So the whole show really revolves around two characters, Jim and Pam, and then they're flirty for a long time, and then they end up, getting engaged and getting married. The guy Jim is real. He's a perfect example, 100% USDA simp. Perfect example of a simp. Somebody that I would consider just somebody, a male who is in servitude, somebody who is a utility. And once those utilities are useless, those utilities are chucked aside and new utilities come into play. That's all I see him as. And he's happy being there because in his relationship with this woman, Pam, who is the receptionist, who starts off in the series just being the person who's a prickly pear, offended by things. I mean, there's another character on there that's even worse, but here's a receptionist. They're usually light and bubbly, and they can take a joke. And, even, in offices and workplaces, people tell jokes. Some people deem them as inappropriate. And now there's a wave of what you can't say and be careful. And, all these people are going to report you for sexual harassment if you tell an off-color joke or something like that. So you're never going to make everybody happy. And office places now, businesses have become a tomb for any kind of laughter, any kind of levity. Basically, people are afraid to say anything to each other, especially if you're approaching a female and you're saying something, because there's attacks against males these days in the media all around. All you have to do is look and you see it, right? And definitely a double standard between the two groups, male and female. So, this woman starts off just being offended by everything, except what this guy Jim does. He's the only one that she can kind of focus on. All the while, she's flirting with this dude, and through the series, they even kissed at one point. Whatever. She's engaged to a guy in the warehouse. Nice guy, good-looking dude, rough around the edges, kind of a industrial redneck. I would say, rednecky enough to be in that world of redneck, and industrial enough to hold a job in a warehouse, right? So she's looking at this other dude, and he's looking at her, this guy Jim. He's a salesman, he makes more money, dresses nicer, he has better stuff and whatever, right? That kind of thing, and looks arguable, but it's just interesting because that's hypergamy right there in front of your face. Is somebody who already is engaged, already is betrothed to marriage, right? Is looking at another dude all ready to monkey branch up. She has set him up as the back burner. He knows it. She's got him wrapped around her finger. And if you look at the series, the guy just kind of follows her around, does whatever she says. And it's just very interesting what goes on. So, and then, after those guys, they end up, getting together, of course, and getting married and having kids and doing all that stuff, right? And then the other dude, Roy, ends up losing his job because he attacks Jim. And then he opens up a gravel company, is super successful. They get invited to his wedding. He's like wearing a tux and singing to his wife and all successful, big, beautiful house. And then she's looking at it like, can't believe it, that's what she gave up. That's what like people think. But in the show, it tells you that she's engaged for a couple of years, 2-3 years. That's an extraordinary amount of time to be engaged without getting married. Now, this is something that is implanted in people's brains. Once you see something enough, and once people tell you something enough, you're likely to believe it, especially if you're watching a show over and over again and it plants these same thoughts in your mind. So the reality is, for people out there, especially males, when it comes to marriage is a bad deal. It's a bad business deal. It's great to be in love. It's great to share your life with someone. It's really cool to do that. But understand this, like this girl Pam on the show, she could be with any dude anywhere along the line and have kids and have the house and do that. It didn't matter who. It just mattered what she wanted, that marriage license. It mattered that she wanted to get married, right? And in real life, this is the way it is. There's no, there's an old saying is that, she's not yours forever, she's yours for now, and that type of thing. And meanwhile, it's men who get just raked over the coals. That toxic male, you're so terrible and you're evil and you're this, and all these terrible things that are put out there when really there is no toxic. I mean, you're this toxic people, but you know why? Because you open a door for someone, you're a toxic male, or there's. I mean, yeah, people. It's that ridiculous that people actually say that you're taking away someone's rights by opening the door for them. Things have gotten so stupid in our society that the spotlight has been put on these people who can never be satisfied. They're always upset, always angry, always agitated. They always have some freaking problem with something. And they're the ones who want to run society. They don't want to give me control. I'll run society and everything will be fine. You give them control, they destroy everything because they're not the kind of people that should have control of anything, So this is the deal. This is why this story I'm about to read warms my heart. It really does. The Office star, Jenna Fisher, that's Pam, lost role in Matt LeBlanc's Man with a Plan series because a focus group said Pam wouldn't marry Joey. So there's something called typecast. When you're typecast, you're a certain type. You're stuck in there. You will never get another job without people seeing you saying, it's Pam. Oh, it's Harry Potter. Oh, it doesn't matter who. It's Rick Grimes, like there are people now who will never be able to move on. I even see that Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, has now moved on to a show where he's like a preacher and he's laughing all the time. He's laughing all the time and he has a lively face because he's trying to distract from his normal sad-looking, scared Harry Potter face, man. But you will never look at that dude without thinking Harry Potter. You'll never look at, I mean, there are so many people, right? There are people who could, well, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford had many leading different roles. You don't peg him up. Sure, he's Han Solo, right? But he's also Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? He can play that out, But Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, and what a horrible, pathetic choice for a Jedi Knight. When you think of Jedi Knight, and I'm not talking about just size. I'm talking about presence. There's people who have a certain presence. And that presence draws him like the character Han Solo. He had presence, and he's a space pirate. He played a perfect role. They also offered the role to other people. They even offered to Mick Jagger. You imagine Mick Jagger as Han Solo? All right, Chewie. Chewie, going a lot speed. I could see that too, but good choice. Fine. Harrison Ford, put him on the map. For Jenna Fisher, she's not getting roles now because of it. So, she had 9 seasons on The Office. So, and that's when television pays. It pays big bucks. Years ago, like Cheers, Ted Danson. Ted Danson made $10,000 an episode from Cheers, and that was a lot of money back then. The people who read, do the voiceover for The Simpsons, get over $1 million an episode for those each one. That's got to tell you how things have changed, really, because of advertising and money and blah blah blah. All right. So Pam played The Office 9 seasons, and in the latest episode of her Office Ladies podcast. So she's so pathetic that she needs to focus on, anything Office, right? Anything. And she has to be careful because there's only so much you're allowed to do. Those producers will take issue if you start using their stuff for you personally, And nobody cares about her now. No, do you want to hear the girl that played Pam talk about anything? No. What does she have? She has no, this is another thing about actors. They act like they know something. When do they have time to know anything? These people work 16, 18 hours a day. They spend their lives in a trailer on some movie set or some other set. You think they have time? Oh, they might have time for a CNN headline. That ain't going to teach you anything. That's for sure. You want to learn something? Listen to the Red Pill News, man. Red Pill News, Red Pill News, Red Pill News, God damn it. Did I say that out loud? Yes. So her Office podcast, Fisher finally spilt the tea on why she was recast after shooting a pilot for Man with a Plan, a show headlined by Friends star Matt LeBlanc, who played Joey Tribbiani on that long-running sitcom. Mind you, she married a director. She monkey branched up to what she had, and she went higher, right? Anyway, her real life monkey branching was much like that. Jim wouldn't have lasted long, in the real world. Wouldn't have lasted long. The kids would have gotten to about 8 or 9 years old, and she would have monkey branched to somebody else, taking half of Jim's dough. According to Fisher, she lost the role of LeBlanc's wife when the test audiences couldn't get past they were watching Pam and Joey. They didn't believe Pam would marry Joey. Why not? If Joey had more money, better luck, and she could monkey branch up. Fisher claimed that network executives initially asked for more scenes with her, but the pilot and the focus group's reaction sunk the opportunity. Isn't it cool when a focus group, just a regular old focus group, mainly a lot of them are just people who are in a mall who want to sign up to watch something or do something or become part of a focus group, Sometimes they actually have real people in the focus group who are more seasoned, you know what I mean? But really for a focus group, you definitely want that middle of the road America, and you definitely find that in malls. So, because that's who's watching. Like, they don't make TV for me. That there's just nothing there anymore. I used to be able to look at the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel was the only channel that didn't evoke a negative reaction out of me at any time. It was just the weather. Just the weather. You're out there being blown around the storm. Good for you. It's the weather. Oh, Jim Cantori being pelted in the face with ice. Good for you. It's the weather. I don't care. Yeah. Nice big storm comes up. I like to get popcorn and watch that storm. It's great, man. But now they have like the truck, the tow truck shows can be interesting for a minute. I like the engineering, the dynamics of it. It's weather related, but other stuff, fat guys in the woods, man. And no matter how derogatory it is, number one, it's just not entertainment. Right. And it's not the weather, and it's not telling people what the goddamn weather is going to be, which is what the raison d'etre is. So anyway, that's my rant on the Weather Channel. All right. So here she is. She said, they said, this is a literal quote. They said, look at her being all specific on her Office Ladies podcast. They said, she actually said it twice. I don't believe Pam would marry Joey. The chemistry just doesn't work between these two. Fisher told her Office Ladies co-star Angela Kinsley. That's that one who plays Angela, who's more of a prickly pear than she is. And she's nowhere now. Last time I saw her, she was on some stupid show called Deliciousness, which was a takeoff of Ridiculousness, which is an MTV, show. It's a show for mindless people. It's a show. It's just videos of people getting hurt, basically, and them laughing at it like a bunch of fools. And deliciousness had to do with food. It was a food version. So whatever, man. I can't watch that stuff because there's nothing there for me. Just nothing there. Period. I'd rather sit in a dark room and look at that. So she told her office co-host Angela that was the feedback they got. They could only see you as they could only see you as Pam and Joey. Asked Angela, who played Angela Martin on The Office. Yeah, Fisher said. So it wasn't working for them that we got married and had a family. So basically, both of them are still just playing out I mean, this show ended a while ago. Both of them are still playing out their office characters on the podcast, basically. They are defined by what they've done in that one role, because you'd never heard of them before that. And you're not even going to hear about them after, because people are losing interest in this as it is, right? Who really out there listens to this podcast, So Fisher's reps broke the story for her just before she was headed out to New York for the upfronts. The first thing I said is man with a plan not getting picked up? And they said, it's worse than that, hun. It's worse than that, hun. Did they work for Walmart as a cashier? It's worse for that, honey. You got problems. You got problems on aisle 3. I mean, with the show. And I was like, what's worse than that? What's worse than that is that they don't want you. They said it's getting picked up, but without you. And I was like, wow, I guess I'll unpack my suitcase. So she was like, all for sure, I'm getting this because I'm Pam and whatever. She was just recently out there bragging how the most expensive scene on The Office was worth over $200,000 when that guy Jim proposed to her at some skanky gas station in a rainstorm with traffic going by. I don't know how that cost $200,000 freaking dollars, but somebody was dipping into the till on that one, man. I don't know how that even for a few seconds, and unbelievable animation in these shows. I mean, you can get so much more. They could have done anything. I'll say it. All right, they could have done anything. So, Man with a Plan ran for 4 seasons from 2016 to 2020 on CBS with Liza Snyder, starring opposite LeBlanc in a role. And you know what? Do you think it would have made it even further from 2016 if she was in it? So, these comments. I love reading comments from horrible people, man. I've noticed that people they really hide behind their comments. Ugh, get rid of. Oh, they want me to post a comment. I'll just put in I don't know. Anyway, forget this. So the reality is, I'm getting interested. I'm like trolling Jenna Fisher right now as I'm live. All right. So the reality is, when people think that they're worth more than you, there's a problem. If that happens in a relationship, that's not going to work. If you treat people like they're worth more than you, and you do too much for them, because there is something called doing too much for someone, and they get used to it, they get accustomed to it, and then you're just trying so hard for something that you already have. It's a no-win scenario, right? So then people get all gaga and get crazy. They're like we talked earlier about marriage. There are people out there that just want to get married. And they don't even care. They really don't care as long as the person's a good provider. So it's not like some monster love. Oh, I'm so in love. We got to get married. It behooves you not to for quite a while, because unless you have children, You know, it's something that you might want to keep open and understand that, especially got to be aware of the laws in the state that you're in. California laws for divorce and New York laws for divorce are very different. In other countries like Canada, the government is making men who date women for up to a year. If you're dating someone for a year and you break up with them, you've got to pay some kind of palimony to them. And this is what they're doing in Canada, and it's scaring men to the point that so the government's setting restrictions and times on when you should really end a relationship if you don't want to get involved in this unbelievable business contract, because certainly you should not be responsible for anybody if you're just dating them, living with them, nothing like that. You're dating them for a year and all of a sudden you got to pay their ticket, because you dated them for a year. That's ridiculous. And then, my favorite case up in Canada, where this woman, very large woman, out there with purple hair. I don't know why the big ones like make their hair purple, man. It's just like yeah. I don't know. She bragged to all her friends she's going to find some idiot and marry him and adopt 5 kids and then divorce him and take his dough and sit back and eat pudding while the kids, being super mom to 5 poor adopted children. Lo and behold, she found a guy within no time, was online and whatever. Online's changed everything when it comes to dating, and it made people that weren't all that desirable, gave them an audience, man, and all of a sudden there you are. It's a very weird world what's going on right now. But yeah, she met the guy within a year, adopted 5 kids. So in a year, you adopted 5 kids. What kind of laws up there in Canada that allow a couple like this, especially when she was on record telling her friends that she was going to do this? Talk about deceptive. It's downright fraud. But yeah, so she marries this guy. They adopt 5 children. And then as soon as she's done adopting the 5th kid, she divorces him. She gets half his dough. He's got to pay a whole bunch of extra money for the kids, of course, and other things, How is that fair? How is that right? And who's making these laws? This is Canada. I regard Canada as a communist entity, really. I really feel socialism maybe not only communist, socialist, because that's what they represent. They can't hide from it. If you look at the laws, look at the structure, look what they do, that's what they represent. So this story is very interesting to me. Bride sparks wedding day chaos with her atrocious pre-ceremony behavior, the very definition of a bridezilla. Now, do you think having a show called Bridezilla, where they put the spotlight on these women who are just absolutely nasty, narcissistic, and impossible, but they don't make fun of it. They just put a spotlight on it, and what they do is make it acceptable behavior. This is acceptable behavior, and this is what a lot of people, anybody who's watching that show, is going to get that put in their brain. How many women are watching that show are going to get married, saying what can I get away with? Because in a relationship, it's all about the testing that goes on. When you're a dude in a relationship, they test you constantly, test you. And then sometimes you pass, sometimes you fail. You test. It's very tiring, and it's a game. So I don't do it. I don't play the game. I don't get into the whole testing thing. I don't get into anything negative, any of that, And if I detect that off of someone, I run the other way, which is why I'm single. One of the reasons. But I wasn't for 14 years. I'm in a relationship with someone who raised her kids, and it's a terrible situation now. After the fact, and what I have to hear. Okay, so but you learn your lessons, right? You learn your lessons, and you understand where you're at, in the circle of life, and you can't let people step on you or emotionally abuse you or physically abuse you or make you feel terrible about the person that you are because you don't meet their expectations. Who the hell are they to have expectations of you of you just living in your skin, right? So whatever, man. You're made the way you are. Be you. Be yourself. You know that? Someone doesn't like you, and they get pissed off. So here we go. A best man rebelled against the bride and groom's wishes for their wedding day. He explained what led him to create chaos at the ceremony on Reddit's Am I the Asshole forum. The bride to be bombarded him. See, am I the asshole? So automatically you're identifying yourself at, or she's the. It's what people also label themselves as, or what they think of themselves. A lot of people have low self-esteem, man, and you have to lift that up. You got to get away from that, because you're your star player, and there's a lot of haters out there. Not everybody who says everything to you has your best interests. You listen to your fans, you don't listen to the critics, right? So the bride to be bombarded him with demanding texts, despite him telling the groom to be he was swamped. The Reddit poster's wife was pregnant, and they were currently renovating a new home. So bang, baby on the way, a lot of work to do. Talk about being swamped. The guy who is a utility is working frantically to make their nest the nice way so they could have the baby, right? That's cool. You know what? It's cool if it's within perspective. It's cool if there's a shared thing going on, right? So still, the bride to be made inappropriate comments about his the bride to be made inappropriate comments about his wife's pregnancy and his ability to financially contribute. Okay. I let the groom to be know I was limited in what I could contribute financially. He explained. So I went to the bachelor party. I rented the tux and paid for mine and my wife's dinner at the rehearsal dinner. His fiance texted me multiple times a day with updates. She texted me. My wife was not allowed to talk about our pregnancy at all. I was not helping the groom enough. She said if it was a true best man, calling him out, if he's you're a true, that's that shit shaming right there. If you're a real man, I would offer to pay for the bar bill. Oh my God, the best man. People can drink a lot, man. you know, it's gonna be a bar, but it might just have fruit juice. Sorry. She had to approve my speech before the rehearsal dinner and wanted to be included as much as my buddy. So she wants to know every aspect. I have total control. She told me to make up things if I had to. Of course, people have no problem lying, right? I was not allowed to include anyone but the two of them, and no inside jokes or stories about my buddy that didn't include her. See, I mean, all those rules. If I'm the best man, you chose me for a reason. I'm going to do what I do. Of course, I'm not going to embarrass people like that. Maybe a little bit. You got to have a little fun. But she wants total control. It's funny about people that want total control. Once they get control, they don't know what to do. I said that earlier in the show, and it's exactly how it goes. Her last text said to tell my wife to keep it together and not make a pregnancy scene during the wedding. Nice. She also wanted to choose a dress that downplayed her pregnancy as much as possible. Wow. Talk about somebody who is shaming another person for being pregnant, dressed down, shouldn't be pregnant. I don't know, man. There's a bunch of stuff wrong with that, right? So anyway, after the onslaught of demands, the best man became furious and put his foot down during the ceremony. Played out. They should have told his wife to lay down, get flat on the table, and put your legs up in the air like you have with a baby. Oh, my water broke right in the middle. That'd be funny. Anyway, that would be what I would do at a wedding. That's right. I spoke to my friend to see if he could reason with her. Obviously, the guy should know better. If that woman's like that, and she's that nasty and bold and brazen, the dude is a simp. He's not going to be able to get a word in edgewise. He is the worker bee She's the queen in control. He is just the utility. That is all. He's just a tool, a set of tools. And when those set of tools become useless, they either die early or they just get sent down the river and they take their money. Some, I met women that were married 3 and 4 times that are getting alimony and all kinds of stuff and whatever, and had gotten things from every dude. It's like what they collect off of every guy. And a lot of these guys die alone in hospice cares with nothing, nobody around them, nothing. How is that fair? And this is the problem. If this stuff continues, and it's going to, men are going to run the other way. They're going to reject it. You already have these guys out there talking about female robots and whatever. Ugh, you can have your silicone dollies, man. To me, it's weird. And they're going to be robots and they're going to do this and that. Yeah, that sex robot. If you pay $10,000 or $15,000, then you got to maintain it. That thing better cut the goddamn lawn and do other stuff. Paint the house. I want to do everything. I make that thing run to the store. Get myself a horse and carriage type of thing and put it as the horse. That'd be run me to the store. Clip, clap, clip, clap. In 5-inch heels. Clip, clap, clip, clap. Are you kidding me? Women. First of all, if you program a robot like a woman, it's not going to respond to a man. Then the robot's going to make you the simp. She'll be in control because she'll be controlling all your stuff. Oh, you got an electric car or electric start? Yeah, the robot controls that. Oh, the television channel, robot controls that. Oh, you like to watch a little porno now and then? Oh, no, robot controls that. Goddamn thing knows everything, man. You're tuned into your cell phone, knows where you go, who you call, what you do. Yeah. Forget that. There's a better life out there than praying for robots. It's actually called finding decent people and cohabitating with people who are kind. And the second you detect that unkind, you run the other way because that is their true self. People will always show you their true self at some point. You just have to open your eyes and understand that that's what the deal is. Not be all, drunk in lust and, oh, I love you, baby, but. Listen to your mothers. Your mom will tell you. No, you know what? That's why a lot of women don't like these dudes, girls. Plus there's a competition thing going on. But still, right. I spoke to my friend to see if he could reason with her. He wrote, he told me to just play ball on this one. It's her day, and to cut him a break because he's dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. Let's examine this sentence. Let me highlight it and examine it. I spoke to my friend to see if he could reason with her. He wrote, he told me to just play ball on this one. There's no this one. Just play ball, period. It's her day. No, it's his day too. In fact, it's the day for everybody who's going to attend. It's all them together. That's why you invite these people and whatever. That's why you bring a toaster and whatever the hell you got, right? And to cut him, the groom, a break because he'd be dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. So he already has that in his head. He already knows how terrible she is. And he's kind of stuck in this game that he's getting married. The smartest thing this guy could have done was run the other way and save the rest of his life from somebody who is like that. Let her go for some other dude and destroy his life, right? And it's not going to be for the rest of his life. Well, it might be because you might die of a freaking heart attack from all the stress. Stress is number one killer. Number one. Why do you think so many men die so early in these relationships? Yeah. Stress. So, the day of, all the bride and the buddy do, on the day of, all the bride and buddy do is scold me, berate me, and bark orders. I head down to the bar for a drink. Yeah, that would have been my first stop. First of all, if you talk down to me, I mean, nobody scolds me. You're going to draw the biggest, most fierce reaction that you can draw. You take a stick and go up to the big, fierce, fire-breathing dragon and go ahead and poke it in its balls. Yeah. berate me and bark orders, I would have been like, fuck you, and give them the finger as I'm driving away. Are you crazy? I had two friends that got married, and I was away when they had got married. Are you gonna come back for our wedding and whatever? And these guys fought like cats and dogs all the time, nonstop. Worst possible people for each other. I knew that there was nothing to go to, that it wasn't going to last. Oh, they spent 25 grand on the wedding though. My friend went into debt doing that, because he's the one that worked. He was paying all this money that lasted within a couple of years, and then they both cheated on each other multiple times. Yeah, that's why I didn't go back. So, dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I head down to the bar for a drink. The bride's mother is there and warns me not to get drunk because I've ruined her daughter's day enough. Oh, God. Another one. Don't you get drunk because you ruined my daughter's day enough. Wow. This is the person that you're not friends with. These are the people that you don't want to be around. You gotta have some kind of sense of dignity and walk out. So I didn't give them the card with a $300 cash. And in the speech, I used my friend's exact wording about having to deal with her nonsense for the rest of his life. Woo! Triumph! Triumph! This dude rose up and said, listen, I'm going to keep my $300. I am going to drink, get drunk, and you suck, and you suck. See, that's the way you do it. Then you drop the mic. You drop the mic, right? I wished them the best and told them I'd always be there for him, especially during the divorce. Oh, you go. This dude's my hero. Where is he, man? I'm gonna buy him. I'm gonna buy him a beer, man. I don't know, or a whiskey. Yeah. Reddit users thought everyone involved was being mature. That's that. Nobody can be on the guy's side. The groom's best man. Clearly, they just used and abused him. And the Reddit users are mainly these inconsistent people. That only cheer for one side, not the other. Only one sex. They're very sexist on there. Racist too, man. You ever read what people write on there? Ugh. The groom aided and abetted his wife's atrocious behavior. His wife sucks for being the very definition of a bridezilla, one person said. You aired dirty laundry in public, another person wrote. You aired dirty laundry in public. Meanwhile, the whole thing happened in public. The whole wedding happened, and she was treating him like crap in public. So it's okay for people to treat you like crap? No, it's never okay for people to treat you like crap. Never. I don't care what they freaking think. They can take that crap outside and down the street. It's nobody's job. It's nobody's right. It's nobody's purpose to make you feel bad. If they do, that's their damn problem. They're mental. Those people are mentally ill and they have a problem. And those are usually the people that got a problem with everything. You know what I mean? Mentioning divorce in your best man's wedding speech made you sink to their level. No, man, this guy vented. I love that. You know what? It's good to vent. He got rid of the stress that she gave him. She brought that on, and the groom too, saying, "I don't have any control. I'm not going to deal with her for the rest of my life." You wuss! How dare you? How dare you? So, in an interesting related story, but not quite related, this grabbed me also. We only got about 11 minutes left. Okay. Woman, this ain't no anti-woman show. These things just grab me, and I'm like, what? Because I actually know people that do crap like this, or I know someone actually cut up their ex-boyfriend's clothes, like his expensive suits and ties and whatever, because she thought she was being funny. That's a version of comedy, right? Woman deliberately runs 49 red lights in ex-boyfriend's car to rack up fines after he left her for another woman. So she takes his car. A Chinese woman hatched a plan to get revenge on an ex-boyfriend who left her for another woman. Local report said she used her ex's car to go through red lights and rack up fines. The woman, only known as Lou, was arrested, and an angry woman arrested in the Zhejiang province in eastern China. You see Chinese women getting up to speed when it comes to being those bridezilla types, angry exes or whatever. Yep. See how things have changed, right? She deliberately ran 49 red lights. Let me tell you, man, there's a red light on Long Island. It's got one of those camera things, right? It's in Manhasset, like right before the Miracle Mile starts, And I got 2 tickets at that light when they had first put it in. Now I don't run red lights, and I'm not really the speeder type of guy. The speed limit there was 45 miles an hour, and I remembered both times. I'm driving. I'm like getting to the light. I'm basically going through the light. The light goes from green, yellow, red, just like that. Like there wasn't even like a nanosecond in between. It was like green, yellow, red. And then here I am going through a red light, and then the thing takes a picture of you. So the companies, these are private companies that install these red light cameras. They can dial in whatever they want on that traffic light to make the light change. And don't you think that they did that on purpose, of course, to get people to pay the fine, $50. And I didn't pay either one. I contested both. And then they ended up letting it go, because I told them what I actually went back and videotaped the light going from green, yellow, red, and cars going right through it and that camera taking off. This is what will happen if politicians are allowed to do whatever they want and include private industry in things like, prisons, things like that are privately owned. We see a whole bunch of problems there. So anyway, the woman identified only Lou, and I read that already. So Chen then handed the car to another man. Zhu, his name called Zhu Hu. That's freaking awesome, man. That's like a great knock joke. Knock knock. Who's there? Zhu. Zhu Hu. Uh-huh. Zhu Hu with Lou. Zhu Hu and Lou. They used the car in a 2-day marathon committing traffic offenses. So she not only got she did a terrible thing to the guy, using this car, going through red lights, getting him in trouble, but also got this other dude in, Zhu Hu, right? I bet the cops were very confused, man. Zhu and Lou also ran 49 red lights before they were stopped by the police. The car belonged to some known only as Kian. I want to live in a place just have like one name. They don't know me as Michael Angley. My name is my name is who or what. My name would be what. Yeah. What? Yes. Or where. Use Spanish version. Donde. What's your name? Donde. Huh? Now, what is better? What's your name? What? So, Kian, according to the Global Times, has dated Lou before leaving her for another woman. Probably one that can't drive, I would say. Following questioning by police, it was revealed that Lou had come up with the plan to rack up fines in a bid to spite her ex-boyfriend. Ooh. Lou, and Zhu Hu, and who's Zhu Hu and Lou, accomplice, was reportedly promised a date with Lou if he joined the four-wheel revenge. So she bribes him with Lou. Lou said to Zhu Hu, "Here's my cooch, and you get cooch if you Zhu Hu the car and with Lou and run a bunch of red lights." And the guy was dumb enough to do it. And I bet he didn't get anything. I bet the only thing he got was arrested, it sounds like. So here's a good lesson for guys out there, or anybody anyway. Men, women, doesn't matter who you are. Don't get involved in other people's crap. Don't go between other people. You can never get in between people, especially if they're related to each other. There's a lot of people get into relationships and the family's fighting and whatever, and you're the new person. Even if you're the old person in a relationship, you can't get involved because no good will come from it. Although the person in a relationship, the narcissistic, is going to want you to get involved so they can have more power to attack, right? So, in my final story, TikTok video shows woman on American airline plane duct taped to her seat. The airline says she tried to open the door mid-flight. So people are getting crazier, right? And I love duct tape. If you think that duct tape, and it's not called duct tape, it's duct tape. If you think that duct tape doesn't have a million uses, this story proves you wrong. So a TikTok video shows a woman duct taped to her seat in an American Airlines flight after an incident in which the airline says she attacked flight attendants and attempted to open the plane's door. The video was filmed on American Air Flights 1774, which was traveling from Dallas-Fort Worth to Charlotte, North Carolina on Tuesday. In the video, filmed by TikTok user, blah, 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 an unidentified woman in first class can be seen with duct tape around her chest and mouth as she attempts to scream at passengers who are departing the plane after it landed. In a follow-up video, blah, 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 said the commotion started 1 hour into the 2-hour flight when all flight attendants were running up and down the aisles frantically, kind of whispering. That's never a good sign, by the way, or if the pilot comes out saying, I don't know what to do, start crying. Yeah, that too. That's when you want to hit that alcohol cart hard. The crew began locking bathrooms and started grabbing bags from overhead bins. Are there still alcohol carts on planes? I haven't flown a long time. Let's see. They wouldn't say what's happening though, right? Grabbing bags from overhead. Locking bathrooms and grabbing bags from overhead. That plane's got a problem, man, when the crew is just getting ready to leave and they're not telling you anything. It was just kind of chaotic. Like no one knows what's going on. The pilot eventually spoke over the intercom and asked people to stay in their seats because of a bad situation in the plane. There you go. This is the pilot, flight 1774. I got to do a straight voice. Hello, this is John Friendly, the pilot, flight 1774. Please stay in your seats because we're experiencing a bad situation in the plane, not like something outside the plane. There's no gremlin sitting on the wing. As the plane was landing, a flight attendant who sat near the passengers said a woman had an outburst with an attempted to get off the plane. That's never a good idea. She was saying, I need to get off this plane. And she went up to the exits and started banging on the doors. Talk about giving someone douche chills, man, who's sitting on the plane. Oh, my God. You need to let me off this plane. In a situation like that, I would have had to just intervene because then your life is at risk. She does something stupid. I know you can't open those doors like that, but damn. The woman apparently started biting, spitting, and attacking flight attendants, prompting the crew to take her down and duct tape her mouth. Why do I have the overwhelming sense that she's from Florida? I don't know. No offense to people in Florida, but yeah, be offended. The video, which has been viewed by more than 4 million, at 4 million times, shows the police officer and medical personnel waiting by the plane's entrance as other passengers depart the cabin. What kind of duct tape was it? Was it that Gorilla duct tape? I love that stuff, man. And an American Airlines representative told the Insider in an email statement that the woman attempted to open the forward boarding door and physically assaulted, bit, and caused injury to flight attendants. We applaud our crew for their professionalism and quick efforts to protect on people on board. And I will bet you anything. This is so since January, the Federal Aviation Administration has received 2,500 reports of unruly behavior by passengers, most of which involve travelers refusing to comply with federal mask mandates. So I will tell you this, man. Nothing will happen to this woman. She will get away with this wholeheartedly. Nothing will happen to her, right? And she'll be empowered by this. And she'll say, well, look how they abused me and they kept me a hostage, and she'll get some lawyer and try to sue the airlines that they kept her as the hostage in the seat and they duct taped her and whatever, right? And this is the country that we're in. This is America now. This is a people who bend over backwards for freaks who are not right in what they do. They're not right in their head. They've got a serious problem, you know? And it sounds like this woman shouldn't have even been flying, really. I mean, she's got some issues, but that ain't me, and that ain't you. And that's all I know, man. I'm going to end the show on that note. Oh, take the red pill. Hope you had a lovely time on the show. Red Pill News, 1 million people strong. Listen every week, man. Getting more and more and more all the time. I love all of you guys, all of you. And I will see you next week on this show. And I'll be out there on the road doing my thing. On United Public Radio Network, UPRN, talkradio.com, 107.5 New Orleans. No, that's not. We sold that one, man. 105.3 or something. Whatever the hell it is, I'll get all of it. It's on the internet, UPRN, talkradio.com. Bye.
All right, everybody, it's time to vote, vote, vote. Get out there and nominate your favorite podcasts. The People's Choice Podcast Awards voting is up on the 31st of July, so go to podcastawards.com to nominate the following shows. Writers and Illustrators of the Future podcast in the categories of education and also storyteller drama. The Centralist in the category of politics and news. That's with show host Joe Montaldo. Science and Beyond in the category of science and medicine. Also with show host Joe Montaldo. The Outer Realm in the category of society culture with show hosts Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. And the Pittsburgh Paranormal Chasing Prophecy in the category of religion and spirituality. There's another category that opened up for us recently, the People's Choice, so please select for this category as well. Go to podcastawards.com to vote for these 5 shows and any others you enjoy listening to. That's podcastawards.com. And remember, voting ends July 31st, so go ahead and get your votes in.
Podcast.com.